Welcome to another edition of the Dr. B Show. I'm your host, Dr. B. In this episode, I interview another doctor, Dr. Mordecai Brownlee, as he explains his rise from his teachings, from his beginnings to his presidency at his community college. I hope you enjoy this episode. Take care.
Hi, Dr. B here. Are you struggling to get rid of stubborn fat but don't want to have plastic surgery? 111 Spa and Aesthetics non-invasive slimming massage can help you get the body you always wanted. 111 Spa and Aesthetics can also help you when it comes to cellulite treatments and body contouring massage. 111 Spa and Aesthetics offers a full range of skincare services, including facials, acne, scar treatments, skin tightening, microdermabrasion, and more. 111 Spa and Aesthetics are trained professionals with extensive skincare experience and utilize only the best equipment possible. For more information, please visit their website at www.111aesthetics.com. That's 1-O-N-E 11 SpaAesthetics.com, located at 10 East Moonachie Road in Hackensack, New Jersey, 07601. And to make an appointment, don't miss out, 201-520-1777, 201-520-1777, 111 Spa and Aesthetics.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. B Show. I'm here with the great Dr. Mordecai Brownlee. Dr. Mordecai, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, my friend?
Doing fantastic. You know, I can't date it too much, this podcast, but recorded on a nice Friday. So happy Friday in advance, no matter when it airs, right? So
That's right. It's Friday everywhere all the time.
Exactly. Let's jump right into it. Tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, Mordecai Brownlee. I serve as the sixth president of Community College of Aurora. If you've ever flown into the Denver International Airport, you're technically in Denver, but you're really in Aurora. So our college is roughly 15 minutes away from the Denver International Airport, two locations. We serve just over 8,600 students. We're the most diverse college in the state of Colorado. Over 60% of our students are students of color. Over 50% of our students are first generation. So that's the college. In terms of myself personally, I'm a proud husband of this year will be 17 years, proud father. My daughter has a birthday party tomorrow, but I won't date it. I won't tell you the time. So just know, anytime you watch this, she's got a birthday tomorrow, and we'll invite you gifts, and have a son who turns 9 this year. And proud product of community college. Honored to be able to be in this space, and honored to be with you on today, Dr. B.
Thank you, Dr. Mordecai. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, happy birthday, regardless of when it airs, right? So, love it. So, like an educator like me, you went to Lone Star College, you got your associates in liberal arts, Houston Christian University with a bachelor's in communications and political science, master's in HR management, certificate in community college leadership, and of course your doctorate, doctor of education from Aurora universities. How I don't want to say as short as possible, like I guess in concise as possible. Yeah. How do you think all this experience from your education kind of help you in what you do today?
Well, I will tell you this: the hardest degree I think I had to earn out of all those that you listed was my associate's degree, because I tested at developmental levels. I failed developmental math. And so the last thing I ever thought I would be is a college president. And I just remember having to work overnight shifts and having to work seasonal jobs and having to work the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and the 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then go to class. The sacrifices that it took to find my space, find my purpose, find myself, that was the hardest degree. The most transformative degree I would say of that was my doctorate, because I really, rather than pursuing the letters in the title, I pursued the understanding of how do I take this information to equip me to be able to make the most impact. And I was truly transformed during that experience. And so I would say that at each and every one of those various points, I was able to gain the skills needed to be able to teach. I think I'm now in year 9 of my teaching experience. I still teach in the doctorate level for Lamar University. I've also taught at Morgan State University and also taught at the University of Charleston. And so all of that in the experience and life experiences have been able to enable me, prepare me to be able to serve.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great analogy, a great distinction between the most challenging, right, and the most transformative, right. And I'm glad you were able to make that distinction in some
Yeah.
way. So interesting, not very interesting enough. I think I would say the same. I would say the most challenging were probably the bachelors, right, because
Mm.
I was the first in my household. I had no one to rely on. It was just all me, right. And then the most transformative, of course, same like you, was the doctorate because everything that it's opened up for me, right? So 100% agree with you there. So
Right on.
no, absolutely, 100%. You had several also teaching roles. Most recently were the VP teaching roles and several teaching and administrative roles. And most recently, prior to you being president, you was a VP for student success at St. Philip's College. How did that role help you to what you do today?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you the reason how I even learned about the role being an opportunity. My doctorate research was in the impact of legislation on higher education, specifically community colleges, and within the state of Texas. And so it allowed me to travel the state of Texas while conducting my phenomenological study on the impact of what was some new legislation at the time, Texas House Bill 5, for all of my Texas folks that are watching this. So it allowed for me to get around the state and understand and have conversations with presidents and provosts. And really, what is the impact of this? From that, I ended up meeting Dr. Adina Williams Lawston, who was the president, still is the president of St. Philip's College. And I just remember just thinking, this is a historical figure. She was the first African American to be the director of education for NASA. She was a two-time serving president, amazing experience. And I said, you know what? That's the kind of person I would love to work for one day. Little did I know, finishing my doctorate and after serving at the University of Charleston as their dean of students, senior student affairs officer, the opportunity came for me to work for Dr. Lawston. So I did that for 5 years, and to work for the nation's only, still to this day, community college that's a historical Black college and a Hispanic serving institution. Just created such a point of pride to understand the convergence of these various identities, races, cultures, and how we are seeking to be as equitable in our advancements, our approach to student success, and our instruction. And that's ground zero for that work that was taking place in San Antonio, Texas, of all places, because a lot of people, when they hear San Antonio, they may not know San Antonio is the most impoverished metropolitan city in the country. And it is also the most economically segregated metropolitan city in the country. So it's a space that really needs a strong commitment to social and economic mobility.
100%, great point. And it's interesting how, I wrote a book on networking and how important that is to leverage your relationships, but also make an impact, or creating a legacy and leave an impact. And I'm so glad he was able to have someone, right, work on with someone who was the only president of the HSI and all that. And then really and thanks to your network and everything you did, right, he was able to be a candidate for the president role and eventually.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of your presidential role, walk us through a day of what does Dr. Mordecai Brownlee, what does the president do on a day-to-day basis?
President, I'll tell you what this president does. This president drops his kids off, because that's important to me, to school, to take that time with them. There's so much time that has to be committed when you're not. I want to be very clear about this, because somebody's watching this that may have presidential aspirations. I now sitting in the seat for nearly 2 years. I don't understand. I have a hard time understanding some of my colleagues that are presidents that are they're so transactional, that they aren't building the relationships in the community to truly be transformative in the space. Because I will tell you, the amount of time I have to spend out in the community, meeting, being at those conversations, being at the night meetings, being at the weekend meetings, being a part of the conversation, that it takes away from what could be family time. So that time for me is very important, to be able to get the kids ready and drop them off at school. So that's number one. That's how I start my day. But then secondly, sometimes I'm in a jazz mood, Dr. B. Other times I got to do the Dirty South thing. I'm going to listen to some Juvenile,
there you go.
Some Cash Money,
I love it.
take it back to Master P, which takes me to a point where I was talking to my Phi Theta Kappa students, and I asked them, I says, hey, did y'all see, Master P? They says, who's Master P? And I says, my goodness, has that Have I reached that point in life? Have I reached that point in life? I believe that everybody should understand how to make them say, and when my students realized that, then when I realized they didn't know how to make them say, I had a problem with that. So I'm still working through that. But I'm going to listen to some Master P. I'm going to listen to some Cash Money. I'm going to listen to some jazz. I'm going to figure myself out. But I'm going to get myself in the space, get here and then serve. One of the things I tend to do is really get around the college at the start of my day. Fist bumps is my thing, checking on everybody. How you doing? What's going on? And then it's really the job. Folks ask, what is the job of a president? It's three things. Number one, it's mission advancement. So my number one sole job, this is the mission of the college. I need to make sure that we've created an environment with the proper resources for our faculty, instructors, our staff to work in an inclusive space to transform the lives of the students we serve. The second role of my job is regulatory. So this is the accreditation. This is financial. This is policy. What are we doing to make sure we're in alignment? This is the state of Colorado Department of Higher Education. What are we doing to make sure that we're following in line with that? The third thing is the strategic plan, the objectives of the institution, making sure that those strategic objectives are being fulfilled by the goals, making sure we have a scorecard on those key performance indicators, making sure that everything we're doing every day is driving the needle forward towards the ultimate achievement of that strategic plan, which then will advance the mission of the institution.
Love it. Love it. I love the day-to-day, and especially it's important, the personal, and obviously it sets the tone for professional, right? Love it. Love it. So I'm going to I have a quick question, but before I get to the question, I'll read you a couple of stats, and I'll get high level, and then we'll get into the college, your current role specifically, right? So according recent stats from the College Board, they connect students with colleges' success and opportunities. Undergraduates enrolled at public two-year colleges, right? So 14% Black, 22% Hispanic, 5% Asian, 10% other, and 51% other than white. According to the AACC, a first-time community college indicates that they're largely minority, 21% two or more races, 19% Hispanics, 19% American Indian, 60% white, 50% Asian, right? So what do you, the reason why I mentioned these stats is, what do you think community colleges can do more in order to support our black and brown community, or as an example, or Asian community?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things you heard me mention that last question as I was answering that last question was key performance indicators. And I think now more than ever, institutions, what are community colleges going to need to do? It's going to need to take a look at what has been its key performance indicators, and how it has held itself accountable to truly ensuring that these communities are served and that these students are able to realize their dreams. There's two key performance indicators that come to mind. Number one, time towards completion, because we've got to stop these broken pathways, these stop outs. The amount of time that is taking students to get through these various programs. For a community college, it should not take someone 5 years on average to complete a 2-year degree. For a 4-year degree, it should not take someone 8 years to be able to complete a 4-year degree. But what's happening is we're having to work, and we have responsibilities, yet we have dreams. And so you have an increase in students taking a full set of classes. They aren't taking the 12 hours, the 15 hours. They're taking the 2 classes. They're taking the 6 hours. And yet they're still. And so we want to continue to promote that. Now, though, I think it's the reason why this goes to point 2 in the key performance indicators there, time to completion, but also creating more pathways towards completion. This is where we get into micro-credentialing. It is that level of micro-credentialing, how we can create workforce skill-based credentials that can truly be transformative. And so for all these working adults, because as we're looking at this swell of the baby boomer generation, the Xer generation, now millennials, we're really into these executive spaces now. Certainly Xers are, but millennials are now in these executive spaces like myself, right? Then you've got Zers coming behind us that are now in the first phases of their various careers. Folks are looking for something that's short-term, interactive. How can I get the skills I need to be able to put more food on my family's table, especially with the levels of inflation that's being experienced around the country? So those are the 2 key areas I think that community colleges are well positioned to pivot accordingly. shortening the time towards completions through micro-credentialing, but also holding itself accountable to create these seamless, direct, focused pathways that will lead our students towards completion.
Do you want to promote your product or services to your target audience but don't know how? Do you struggle with social media marketing and management? Do you have challenges with lead generation for your business online? Well, look no further. Get More Clicks Media helps with SMS, MMS, and email marketing. Also, social media marketing and management, video marketing, lead generation, brand recognition, SEO, e-commerce, and website development. For more information, please visit getmoreclicksmedia.com. That's getmoreclicksmedia.com.
I love it. I actually sit on a couple of committees, and oddly enough, he was mentioning one-time completion, and then two, the micro-credentialing, right? As an example, like whether it's in healthcare, getting a, PCT certification, something like that, so that at least you get some sort of exposure, some sort of knowledge in the workforce or in that space. And then when you graduate, not only do you get a degree, but you also get a credential, and you can kind of work on your major while you can pursue that degree. So great point there. I really appreciate that. It's funny how you and I are syncing in a lot of ways. So it happens right at the doctor level, right?
That's right. But being on the ground, wanting to transform lives. And so you have to keep your ear to the ground on what the needs are, and where things are headed, because the technology, the advancements in technology, in the marketplace. I think about Amazon. I think about our purchases, how we even purchase food, how we take care of our bills, the upkeep of our home, and all these things. Everything is instant. It's on demand. It's right now, right here. It's quick. We haven't done that in higher education. And so now we're going to have to figure out, what does this next iteration look like? Because the marketplace can't be doing one thing and the academy can't be doing another. We have to catch up with the times.
Absolutely, 100%. Definitely have to catch up with the times, which segues into my next question. What is the Community College of Aurora doing to address some of these issues?
Yeah, matter of fact, I'll tell you about a conversation I just had. We're going to be bragging on some of the great work that we're doing with a entity named Educational Design Lab. We're rolling out 4 micro-credentials this semester for the behavioral health space. So we have a strong tie. We're right down the road from Aurora Mental Health here in the city of Aurora. And mental health, even though it's just for the city of Aurora, we're also serving Denver. We're serving Centennial. These are spaces that your listeners and watchers may not be aware of, but just think of it from a greater metropolitan space. That's our reach in terms of providing mental health services. And what we're noticing is that there's such a strong need and a vacancy in the healthcare space. However, there's folks that want to serve in healthcare, but their desires aren't necessarily in the hospital. We're now looking at what can we do to create these micro-credentials that create transferable skill set pathways that have a behavioral health focus, but it's able to be served in other areas and other entities. And we've just rolled that out. We've got 4. We're really excited about it. And we're excited about that synergy. And we're working with our local healthcare partners in addition to Aurora Mental Health on that. The other thing I will tell you that we've done here is we've gotten very laser focused on strategic enrollment management. It's a term that's used in higher education, but I will be honest with you, as an SEM guy, I can tell you, nationally speaking, in many of these spaces and institutions that I've helped throughout the years, they use the term, but they don't necessarily adapt all of the ideologies and methodologies that are required to be able to create these seamless pathways. And so we've got to get out of just branding SEM, strategic enrollment management, and actually implementing it fully, that is in a manner that's relevant. And so what we've done is we've created a division of enrollment management here at the college, brand new division, brand new vice president. Our vice president hasn't even been here for 5 months now. And we're really lifting up the hood on all of our academic programs. The other thing I will tell you that we're doing, it's hard work. It's hard work. And I just want to encourage my fellow educators that there's a need for this work. And I'll tell you why. What we've done is we through an audit, we've identified through looking at head counts, looking at program saturation rates, looking at completion rates, and then talking to workforce partners on what were the academic programs that we truly needed to sunset because industry was no longer hiring folks with these respective credentials or concentrations, and students were no longer interested in those. And so those combined We are sunsetting programs here. However, we're creating space to start new programs. And it's such a hot topic, depending on what side of the coin that folks are on when it comes to this. Why would you close programs? I'm going to tell you why. Because in order to be an integritous institution that's truly going to be equity focused, we cannot educate these students of color, these first generation, these immigrant families, and educate them into programs that they're going to sacrifice 2, 3, and 4 years to complete, right into a credential that will not lead them to employment, that will not lead them to high wage, high demand opportunities. Because if we don't take such a stand as educators, then truly, in my mind, we're not being ethical to those families, because all of that they're sacrificing, all these people of color, what they're sacrificing to only get a credential that's still going to leave them in poverty. And now we're perpetuating the cycles of poverty. So it's hard work. It impacts. However, by remaining laser focused on how we're doing this work. And our faculty here at the college have been absolutely amazing in this work. And we've been pivoting based on the faculty credentials into areas of more demand, high demand, and really looking at how we're raising the level on our ratio of the amount of classes being taught by full-time faculty in comparison to instructors, so we can really level that out, because our ratios were really high on instructors. We're talking about over 70% of our classes were being taught by instructors. And we have this goal to have a 50-50 on the amount of instructor taught courses in comparison to faculty taught courses, so we can really bring some balance to that. So we're really excited. Hard work is underway, but it's necessary work.
100% necessary work, and I agree with you 100%. Sometimes you have to, like you said, phase out certain things that are out of date, and you want to be able to break that poverty. How do you break that? By giving folks cutting edge, technology, whether it's the latest coding in medical, whether it's the latest Excel, right? Even Microsoft Office, right? Because you don't want to teach, as an example, Microsoft 2010, when right now we're in 2023, right?
Really. Yeah. What does a credential in typewriting do today?
Right. Exactly. Right.
Exactly. Right. And so it's just, there's been so many advancements, but here, and I know it's not, I'm kind of getting a little off here, but I got to say it because it's striking a chord with me. It's the reason why we must make sure that we are remaining relevant in the spaces we serve in, because this is playing a role, I think, into what is public trust in higher education, or the reduction that now a lot of articles are speaking of the reduced trust and engagement with higher education. Because if we're not being relevant and really meeting the needs and figuring out how to do so in a seamless manner that is equitable, folks are going to find another way, or they may not find a way at all.
100% agreed. They'll segue into my next to final question. So, According to the Business Roundtable, American jobs tied to trade has doubled from 10.4 in 92 to 20.3 in 2019. I know it's a few years old, but it kind of gives you a perspective. So meaning there's a need for trade workers throughout the country. So what do you, I know you mentioned about the micro-credentialing.
Yeah.
What is your institution, the Community College of Aurora, doing to help with that as well?
Yes, we think about trade. So I would say that, Dr. B, first, state legislation. I go back to my doctoral research. So it's been very interesting to learn how Colorado approaches workforce and career trade, and very different than the state of Texas. Very different than the state of Georgia. So to kind of give the watchers and listeners here what that means. So here in Colorado, you have your research institutions, your land grant institutions, then you have your community college system, but then we have a trade system as well. So we partner with our technical colleges that are really advancing those trade spaces. Where we get engaged from the community college here in this particular state is in the CTE space, career and technical education. And we do that in our Associates of Applied Sciences. So our AASs is where we're able to then integrate into those spaces. And then for us, we look to not duplicate what is taking place at the technical college space. I'll give you a great example of this. We're in the process of breaking ground next month. We start moving earth on our new STEM Power Mechanic Applied Technologies building. In that building, it will have a construction management program. And within that, and it will also have a diesel power program. So we're really excited about that. That is going to meet the needs of a lot of power mechanic needs around in the area. we're doing that work, though, in partnership with our technical colleges who teach a different concentration of power mechanics. So they may deal in the shop space where we are dealing in the technician for diesel power space, but the work is still leading towards the advancement of trades, because as we all know, as the aging of America is taking place and we're getting into more automation versus humanization, we must make sure that especially our families from low socioeconomic communities are getting a pathway towards middle class America, and that our immigrant families are getting that opportunity towards the American dream, and we're committed to making that happen.
And I love how you guys basically complement each other, right? So you may not want to do everything, but some of the other technical stuff you partner with the technical school, and basically, like you said, at the end of the day, come together, and that's how you're able to really cover everything when it comes to, as an example, diesel mechanics. Right?
Yes.
I love it. Last question. So, what advice would you give to someone unsure of their major, and why should they go the route of a community college?
Yeah, I will tell you why I chose community college. Raised by a single mother, and my mother was actually having some health complications. Thank God we worked through those. But it was best for me to stay home local and be of service to my mother and my sister at that time. And it was one of the best decisions I made. As we think about, now more than ever, inflation, concerns of recession, what is the future in terms of debt? To income ratios as we move forward and advance in the economics of our country and society. There's no better, in my personal opinion, situation for someone to consider as attending a community college that is a direct opportunity to have a free, in many cases, by filling out that FAFSA, qualify for a free education. Pell funds, being able to use state funds in many cases, and depending upon their actual personal profile. I didn't have to pay for my education at community college because of my expected family contribution ratio and what that came back at. And so to leave with a credential and to receive the same courses I would have if I would have attended the public 4-year. But now I've left debt free, and I'm able to transfer and move right into the transfer space, or go right into the workforce, and to do so in a reduced manner. The other thing I would say too, classroom sizes tend to be smaller in comparison to many of these larger land grant institutions, and the level of intimacy in regards to resources being made available to these students in the community college space is in my opinion, far better than many of some of these other institutions can provide and offer. And you have an understanding of the educators in that community college space, to say that there's an understanding of the sacrifices that our students are making. There's a relatability to the story of people that are serving in this space, so that allows for there to be a deep appreciation and relevance to those that are coming into the space, and us to serve and provide those services towards the fulfillment of their dreams. So that's the reason why, while I have served at 2 4-year private liberal arts institutions, when the time came for me to think about my presidential pathway, it only made sense for me to serve at the sector that transformed my life, which was community college.
Makes total sense, right? And come back where what helped you, right? And love it. I love it. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Where could people find information about you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah. For the college, I would say Community College of Aurora, ccaurora.edu. We've got some exciting things going on. For me personally, I have a website. It's itsdrmordecai.com. And I look forward to interacting. All the articles that I've published are there, and as well as books and chapters I've supported, well as video series, as well as opportunities for just sharing engagements around the community and around the work I'm doing nationally. So, and internationally now too.
There you go. Dr. Mordecai Brownlee, it's been a pleasure to have you on my show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for what you're doing, Dr. B. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dr. Mordecai Brownlee, everybody.
Has the pandemic changed the way you prospect today? Do you struggle prospecting for new leads for your business? Do you have challenges and don't have a process when networking at an event, either virtually or online? Well, look no further. Borja Consulting Group's Transforming Your Way to Success online course is a solution. In this 8-week intensive course, you will go from networking novice to networking guru. As a bonus, 2 coaching sessions with Dr. Jairo Borja himself are now included in the course. Don't miss this amazing opportunity to transform your pipeline, increase quality leads, close more deals, and transform your way to success. For more information, please visit our website, www.borjaconsultinggroup.com. That's www.borjaconsultinggroup.com.
And I hope you enjoyed that episode with Dr. Mordecai Brownlee. I really enjoyed interviewing him, from one doctor to the other, similar things in common. I really enjoyed that episode, and hopefully you picked up something and apply it to you personally or professionally. Thank you so much for listening to the Dr. B Show. Have a great day.